Chennai is the first Indian city to have gone dry, with the Central Water Commission reporting a rainfall deficit of 41% across Tamil Nadu till the 13th of June this year. It's a water emergency that should worry us all. What has happened in Chennai today could happen to every Indian city tomorrow. Now, storage in 4 main water reservoirs of Chennai is at less than 1%, with barely any water for drinking, washing and cleaning is obviously a luxury. Well, it's now led to an all-out political war. DMK leader M.K. Stalin led a massive protest against the EPS government today, demanding an immediate solution to the city's water woes. This comes days after the High Court pulled up the government as well. And it seems the state government was caught vastly underprepared for this water crisis, with various departments passing the buck. Well, let's go right across now to DMK spokesperson, Mr. Saravanan, joining us on the program. Also, S. Muralidharan, political analyst and someone who is known to support the AIA DMK. We also have with us Arunabha Ghosh, who is the CEO of Council for Environment, Energy and Water, who is with us right now as we speak. But Mr. Saravanan, let me begin with you. This is India's 6th biggest city, now very close to what Cape Town had faced when it fast approached day zero, almost becoming the first major city in modern times to run out of water. Now, scoring political points on this at this point, when this is a full-blown emergency, is that necessarily going to help?
Yeah, see, this is not just politicking. What we have done is to ensure that the government wakes up from its deep slumber, a Rip Van Winkle-like slumber, and ensure it does something. The problem is with the government because it does not even want to acknowledge that there is a problem. The Chief Minister, only after the intense media pressure and the protests by the political parties, has acknowledged that there is a crisis few days back. Even then, the Deputy Chief Minister and other colleagues of his cabinet does not agree. They say it is an exaggeration by the media. So it is very, very imminent that we protest. We are not just stopping with protests. Our MPs, MLAs, district secretaries, all of them are distributing water out of their own capacity to the impoverished people who cannot afford a tanker. Only after what we have done, the government has come up with one suggestion that it is going to bring water from a nearby place called Jolarpet. And our leader, Mr. M.K. Stalin, had also spoken to the Kerala Chief Minister, who had offered 2 lakh litres of water to the state of Tamil Nadu. The Tamil Nadu Chief Minister does not want to acknowledge that, does not want to get water from Kerala. He had mentioned that as a humanitarian gesture, but he refuses, stating that we have enough water. So what can the opposition do except protest? There is extended to this water crisis, that is the tanker mafia, which alone would contribute almost around 1,000 crores. That is what the rumor mill says. The 1,000 crores of money is involved in this tanker mafia, and this government has not done anything to control them. They have not taken possession. They have not taken control of the tankers. They have not taken control of the groundwater, which is being exploited by this tanker mafia. So what else can the opposition do except protest and bring it to the notice of the general public and of the national media?
Saravanan, what would the DMK have done differently?
Yes, that's a very valid question. Yes, that's a very valid question. See, the tanks should have been desilted before the monsoon. If they had done that before the monsoon, DMK would have done that, because our leader, Mr. M.K. Stalin, spoke about this, reminded the government of its duty to desilt the lands and about establishing desalination plants. 5 more plants were planned, but nothing had happened. If the government had done that, we would not have faced this crisis. And our leader, if we were in power, we would have immediately spoken to the neighboring states. We would have spoken to Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and wanted them water, begged them for water, because our people are suffering. That is what the DMK would have done differently, and we would have controlled the tanker mafia. If the tanker mafia is controlled, at least the poor people will get water. What's happening in Chennai is the people with money can pay 5,000 rupees for a tanker and get water, but not the poor man.
Okay, let Mr. Muralidharan, who is with us now on the phone line, respond to this. Several points being made by the DMK at this point, Mr. Muralidharan. One, that the government could have stopped the situation from deteriorating to this extent. Why did it not, for instance, take up the Kerala Chief Minister's offer to provide trainloads of water to Tamil Nadu? Why did the EPS government say no? Why is there no political will to take on what is being referred to as the tanker mafia that is clearly making hay while the water dries up?
See, there are 100 reasons I can give it to you, but it will all look like we are politicizing the issue. That's one reason the PM is very silent. But unlike the DMK's leader who's on the street and holding pots, and why don't we ask Mr. Saravanan whether Mr. Stalin is getting water or not? Is he also struggling like this? Is he struggling for a pot of water? They're trying to aggravate the situation, play into the, they're trying to, make hay while sun shines. So that's what they're trying to do. Last 2 years, that's what they've been doing. See, the problem here is very clearly it's a monsoon failure. When there's a monsoon fail, and we have this problem, it has been happening every 30 years like a cycle. So the reservoirs are cleaned up, everything. But if you don't get water, where will you go? So the desalination plants, the 2 desalination plants which we have, these were constructed by Madam Jayalalitha. The rainwater harvesting which is done in Tamil Nadu was again started by Ms. Jayalalitha. And when Ms. DMK, when they gave us the exchequers in 2011, when Amma received
But Mr.
power,
Muralidharan, isn't this again becoming a political blame game? This is what we did. This is what you didn't do. Why have things been allowed to get to this point? And Arunabha Ghosh, I want you to come in as the expert on this. A political blame game as always. But how much of this is actually a political problem? How much of this is man-made? What are the ways in which this entire situation could have been avoided? And can India, in fact, learn a lesson from the way Cape Town handled its water crisis, or for that matter, other countries of the world have done?
Ankita, to respond to your questions in reverse order, I am not at this moment very sanguine whether India is going to learn its lessons, whether from other parts of India or from outside India. Simply because we don't seem to acknowledge that water is our weakest link, and the natural causes for a drop in water tables or the failure of monsoons is something that we can anticipate and prepare for. It is the failure of preparation, whether on behalf of governments or on behalf of citizens, that keeps us getting into these situations on a regular basis. Whether it's Chennai today, whether it was Shimla last year, or other cities reeling with a water crisis in India right now. The point is, between 2001 and 2011, the per capita availability of water in India has already dropped from about 1,800 cubic meters per person to about 1,500 cubic meters per person. That's going to drop to about 1,100 or 1,200 cubic meters per person over the course of the next 2 or 3 decades. We know this is going to happen. We know our cities are getting more crowded. We know the population pressure. We know the amount of water we are using. And yet we don't seem to put in place the measures needed to act before the crisis hits. Of course, when the crisis hits, you need some sort of emergency measure, whether the water is going to come from Kerala or elsewhere.
But Arunabha,
Yes.
my contention here would be, even with an emergency on our hands, where is the sense of urgency with which to deal with this crisis? And A. Saravanan, I think that's one of the points that the DMK is making also. This is a full-blown crisis. Is it getting the seriousness that the situation deserves?
Yeah. See, that's the problem. This is no more a crisis. This has become a catastrophe. And how the government is dealing with catastrophe? By lackadaisical attitude, by giving statements contradictory to one another. And the only statement they have made towards this water crisis is that they will bring water from Jolarpet. That too, it's not going to happen now. It will take another 15 days for them to set up that infrastructure. Now we are asking this, everybody is saying this is a failure of the monsoon. The monsoon did not fail day before yesterday. It did not fail last week. It did not fail a month before. It failed 6 months back, more than 6 months back. Everybody was warning the government about that, but the government was busy surviving. The government is happy that it isn't survived. That's it. They are not worried about anything else.
Where is the sense of urgency? Where is the sense of urgency to deal with what is now a water catastrophe or water emergency? You actually have the Chief Minister of a neighboring state telling you he is ready, he is prepared to send truckloads of water. What would prompt Mr. Palanisami at this point to refuse such an offer?
See, that offer which is given, it is not even sufficient for a day one. Second is, even if they give an offer, tomorrow they will send truckloads of medical waste and beef waste into the state. This has been their habit. So that's one reason probably CM said no. But looking at the preparations, 823 crores has been spent on this, and desalting has been done, and there's also joint ventures which have started with corporates, and they have also. We have something like 42,000 ponds in Tamil Nadu and 61 reservoirs. This very clearly says this is a dry state, and the gentleman, the expert who just mentioned, Indian per capita cubic meter consumption used to be something like.
Yes, Mr. Muralidharan, I think the larger point is that nobody was caught unawares. This was a problem that repeats. This was a problem that could have been prepared for 6 months in advance. Instead, you have the EPS government accusing the media of overhyping the Chennai water crisis.
No,
How was this hyped?
I don't think so. He had requested the media to be supportive, not to blow it out of proposition. See what happens when somebody is irked and they are struggling to get a pot of water. You go and show the mic and say, "How are you doing?" Obviously, they're going to get agitated. So that's what is happening. So that's what government did not want to. But that's exactly what DMK is doing there. DMK is not supporting us. DMK has so many distilleries on their own, but they're not willing to shut them down and set it as an example.
Respond to that, Mr. Saravanan. Is the DMK just scoring cheap political points, and is this going to continue to be this political tutu-meme while Chennai and indeed other Tamil Nadu cities continue to face this all-out water crisis?
No.
They should come forward and help us getting Kaveri water where their alliance partner Congress is in the room.
No, we don't do that. We don't indulge in that. We do not indulge it. We don't. No. Allow me to speak, sir. Allow me to speak, sir. See, we don't indulge in this tutu-meme politics. That is what I told you, what we have done constructively. We are willing to speak. Why the government, see, as an opposition party, only there is that much what we can do. Let the chief secretary be allowed to follow the instructions of our leader. Within a week, we will make a turnaround of the situation. We know how to control the situation. We will immediately seize all the tankers. We will ensure that they should only run for the government. We will ensure. Sir, allow me to speak, sir. Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt.
Okay, gentlemen.
Don't interrupt, sir.
How is this in any way productive?
Don't interrupt.
I will have to interrupt. When you talk about water, I'll have to talk about your product.
Yes, you have asked to see the tanker.
In Tamil Nadu, AIDMK has been in power for 30 years. You have been there only for 18 years. That shows.
Mr. Muralidharan, what right you have got to speak? You are here to bash the DMK. You have no agenda.
And with that track record, Mr. Muralidharan,
you have been sent upon only to bash the DMK.
Allowed things to get to this stage. Okay, I'm going to go back to Arunabha Ghosh at this point. We barely have any time left on this discussion. Very quick last words from you. Obviously, we need to sort of move beyond this political blame game to actually looking at solutions. And if you had to sum this up for us very quickly, where are the solutions? Where does Tamil Nadu now need to look?
Number one, Ankita, assuming that we deal with the current emergency somehow. Number one, we need to have a constant campaign on water efficiency, targeting all sections of society, all industries, agriculture, residents, etc. It has to be constant, not just during the crisis. Second, we need to actually implement the water harvesting program that Chennai has. A 2015 survey from an institution in Chennai found that even government establishments were not harvesting the rainwater. Number three, we need to mandate 20%, minimum 20% improvement in water use efficiency across all sectors operating in Tamil Nadu. Number four, we need to start pricing this resource properly. We can't afford for something that is so precious to be wasted because we think it is politically not convenient to price this precious commodity. Number five, we need to start looking at the circular economy of water. We can reuse the same drop of water 5 times over as Singapore does, rather than use it once and let it flow into the sea.
All right. We leave it at that for now. All very constructive suggestions, and perhaps it's time all of these were implemented on an urgent and emergency footing. Thanks very much, all of you, for joining us on the program tonight. We slip into a very quick break. The news updates continue here on NDTV 24/7.